Alright, hello. So right now I'm going to walk you through this whole Vision folder right here. It's going to be pretty comprehensive. It's going to be a lot of information. It's going to be a lot of information that most of you guys won't really need. There will be timestamps in the description. So if you are only here for the S3 bucket or base64 or this URL, there will be timestamps to let you know when I'm going through that. But we are going to start out with the URL. So right here, we are just asking the user for the URL to the image. We are saving that URL in this workflow variable right here. Make sure that you have the workflow variable right here, and it should be set to a string. What we are doing here with this execute code card is that we are going to extract only the URL from the user's message. This is because the user might say something like, oh yeah, sure, this is the URL to my image. And we don't want that as our URL, we only want the actual URL. So we don't want, oh yeah, sure, this is my URL text as the URL, since that's not a URL. We are saving it in our workflow.imageURL again. And then we're just checking if it's saved properly. So if it didn't save properly and something went wrong or it couldn't find one, it will be set to null. And this will get triggered and will be sent down to this node right here saying, sorry, I wasn't able to find the link, and basically just getting the user to retry again. If everything went properly and we got a proper URL, we will be sent over to this node right here with the API call. And all you have to know is just that this is the API key. This is the model. You don't really want to change the model. You can change the API key if you want. The role is user, and this is the text. This is basically just what we want to know about the image. I have set this to a static message, so it will just let us know what's in the image. You can change this to maybe be like workflow.prompt or like .user prompt. So basically just whatever the user said. But we are going to have this as a static message right now. This is the URL right here to the image. This is from our variable that we set earlier. And you can change this to be a static URL. So you just do something like this. And then instead of this workflow.imageURL, you would basically just have a link to an image. We are setting the maximum amount of tokens to 1,000. This is because the standard amount of tokens is too low, which will cut off the response from the model. Usually I have it at 500, which works just fine. I set it to 1,000 earlier because I just wanted to see if it could handle it. It could just fine. But 500 should be more than enough. If it's not, you can set it higher. Just make sure that it's high enough so that the model's response won't get cut off. And right here, this is how we're handling the error. So we are logging the error in our console right now. And we're also saving it in a workflow.error variable. This is because you might want to do something about it, handle the error. And you can go back, watch the GPT video. And there I'm talking about how you can handle an error, kind of like it's going on right now. But back to here, and back in here, and the next thing is just that we are saving the response from the model in this variable right here called workflow.response. You can change this, you can do another variable, you can also do console.log if you want to log it in the console, and you will basically just have to do it like this. So you don't have to print it out every time. Right now, we are going to keep it like this, since we are printing it out right after. But yeah, that's all you really have to know. We can test it right here. And we just go URL. Do I have? No, I don't. I copied something else, of course. We'll just say Happy New Year's. And we'll go into here. We'll copy the image address from this one. And we'll just send it right here. And hopefully no errors. if everything. Yeah, so as you can see, it worked just fine. Now we can go up to here. And from base64 or from S3 bucket, the workflow is basically the same. You might notice that there's nothing in here. This is because I just implemented this, and it's going to be a little bit different when you receive it. But just know that for this to work, everything works here. You will have to add a trigger, and this trigger should be custom trigger, and then you'll just do it here. The reason why I don't have this on right now is because when you have two triggers like this, it's a bit messy and only one of them gets triggered, so you can't use both. As far as I have done my research, you might be able to find another way to do it, but I couldn't. So this is why I don't have it on right now. But I have an example for this. I have it running on my local host instead. But anyways, we'll go through the base64 right now. So what is happening is that as soon as we trigger this workflow, we are sending a custom event to our web browser. Why are we doing this? This is to make a little pop-up with the modal so the user can upload the file in it. Then on our website, we will handle that file. So I can open it right here. And only thing you have to change is just your bot. So this is my bot right now. You'll have to change this. So how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to go into here. You're going to select the bot. You're going to go to integrations, configurable, and you'll only copy this part right here. Make sure to leave out this script end tag right here. You'll go back to here and you can just paste it in right here. You can save it. Don't really have to do that since I haven't saved it yet. But yeah, just know this should be your own bot and not my bot, since this bot won't exist. This link to my bot won't exist. What is happening right here is that what I told you before with us sending this custom event. This is what we are receiving right here. So on event, once we receive this event, if it's a trigger, which it is, we have this event.value action, and it should be file upload. This is, that was not what I was supposed. This is what we are sending in here. So conversation ID, as it says, usually this variable right here. Now our action, this is our JSON payload. It's going to be file upload because that is what we want to happen. If you decide to edit this, make sure that it's the same thing that is in here, or this won't get triggered. And what is going on right here is just that we're making the modal display, so it's going to pop up. We have this function to resize the image. This is because if the image is too large, the base64 string, after we have encoded the image, is going to be too large to send with the payload back to Botpress. Botpress can handle a maximum of, I believe it was 128 kilobytes. So if the string is larger than that, so the payload is going to be more than 128 kilobytes, our bot won't receive it and it will throw an error. So we're resizing it to 800 by 800. You can edit. I just found that this worked every single time. You can probably make it 1000 by 24, 1024 by 1024, and it should work. I just found this to be the kind of thing that works perfectly. Now, if file size, and as you can see right here, it's larger than 128 kilobytes. I just took this. I know that it doesn't directly correlate over to the string, but you can test it and see how large of the file can be before it hits the maximum amount of payload size. But basically, we just throw an alert saying the image is too large and it has to be resized, and it might take a moment. It doesn't take long at all. But yeah, then we want to send the file to Botpress. So function send file to Botpress, then this right here. What we're doing is we are hiding the modal, closing it down, and then we send the payload to Botpress with this right here. And what we are sending is the action file uploaded, just to let our bot know the file was actually uploaded. And then we are also sending this file data, which is going to be our base64 string. And this is if you click the cancel button, and then we just send a payload that says file upload cancelled to let our bot know that it was actually cancelled. So we can try out the bot right now. I think it's this one, yeah. So if we just initialize the bot and we do base 64. As you can see, I have already entered one, but we'll do the same one as before and we press upload. Then it's right now going to encode the image to a base 64 string, and it's going to send that to our bot. And then in our bot, we receive the payload right here, and we're going to handle it. I'm going to tell you how we're handling it just in a second. But as you can see, it described the image just perfectly and everything works. So back to the workflow. Right here, we are receiving the payload. All you have to do to make this is just a trigger and then do a custom trigger advanced. So yeah, what we are doing right here is we are handling the payload that we received. This is to make sure that our bot knows if it's either if we cancelled it or if we uploaded a file or if something else happened and went wrong. So yeah, what we want, actually this should be query if I'm not mistaken. I was just too fast there. So if the payload, yeah, this is where it should be payload, yeah, there we go, .action is file upload cancelled, then our workflow.action will be file upload cancelled. And if it was file upload, it will be file uploaded. The reason why we're doing that is because we want to have two expression cards here that check if this variable is file uploaded, and if it was uploaded, we'll continue over here to handle the image, and if it was cancelled, we'll just send a message that says you have cancelled the upload, and we'll just proceed as however we want to. And if something else happened, we will send this message right here, which is at the bottom, so workflow.action, and something went wrong. So yeah, but right now, you just have to know workflow.base64 string is our variable right here, which is going to contain the base64 string. And we are setting that to the file data, which we sent in our payload to our bot. And then we are going to make the API call. So in here, again, it's basically the same as this workflow right here. So you can go back in the video if you didn't watch it and just see what I said about the API call right here. Just know that we changed something. We changed the URL. So now the URL is this string right here, which is our base64 encoded image. And the only reason we can do this is because OpenAI allows it to analyze images from base64 encoded that are basic base64 encoded. So yeah, but everything else is just the same. Now we are going to go through our S3 bucket. Before we're going through this, I'll be going through it with this bot instead. You should know that you should have an S3 bucket kind of like looking like this. If you haven't already set up one, I will leave a link to a video that goes through it really well, and I will also leave in where you should start out in the video, because the whole video isn't useful for you. You only need to know how to set up this bucket and how to set up some other policies. So yeah, but all you need to know is that once we go into the bot, when we initialize the conversation, we send this payload just like we did before with this action right here, and then we are in here. So this is the code for the bot. This is the bot, which you also have to change just like we did before, and this is where we receive the event. So on event, and if this is the action that we sent with the JSON payload right here. So it should be file upload. Make sure that they are the same or it won't work. Now, what we're doing here is that we are setting it up. So you should change this to your URL, what I'm doing is I'm running this on localhost, so this is my URL, but yeah. And then we send a payload here to our bot with the action file uploaded to make sure that the bot knows that the file was uploaded. And then we send the image URL also from our bucket with our image in it. So that is going to be this right here. And yeah, we hide the display of the modal, and this is, if we press cancel, we will also hide it, and we'll send this payload right here. Let me see if there was something else. This is just if you submit the file. Yeah, I don't think there was anything else in here. If I just skipped through something, let me know. I'm very sorry about that. This is all CSS up here for styling the website. So let's go into here. So these are all of the libraries that we are gonna use. We are right here configuring the AWS S3 client. Oh yeah, so the region, you should change this to whatever region you set on AWS. You should also get the secret access key and the access key from the video. You should change them also here. And then your bucket should be your bucket name. Is there anything else that's really... Yeah, so the name of the image that we are uploading, which will also be in the URL to the image, is right now the date that you uploaded the image and then the original file name. There's one downside of this, so that's not really a downside to having it as the date that you uploaded it, but having it at the original file name, if the original file name was super long, the URL to the file and the file name on our bucket is also going to be super long, which is a downside. So you can delete it and just have it as a date. But if a lot of people are using your bot, at some point, someone, like, there's going to be two people that is going to upload a file at the same time, and if they do that, it will have the same name, which they will collide in the bucket, and it won't work. One of them is not going to get uploaded properly, and they won't get stored. So this is why we have the original file name. You can also do something like you store random 16 numbers to the date, or you can also store the file name, original file name, plus random 16 numbers. That can also be set up. That is pretty easy to set up. If you want to know how to do that, just let me know and I'll just give you the code for it, but I'm not going to include it right now. Yeah, bucket name should be the bucket name, and this is going to be the file URL to our image. Yeah, if something goes wrong, error uploading file, and down here, this is just so we can start up the server. So I can just do stop the server right now, and I'm running this line of code to start up the server on my local host. So I'm not going to open ChatGPT right now. So this is the local host that I'm running it on. As you can see, it's completely the same website as this one, but the bot is not the same. So the bot right here is this one in here. So yeah, we are going to initialize the bot like this, and it's going to take a second since the bot has to start up. Right here, as you can see, we got the same modal. We will just upload the same image, and it's going to take a second. It's going to take a bit longer than the if you already have the URL, but as you can see, it's still pretty fast, and it did a pretty good explanation. So if you go into a bucket, just reload the page right here, we can see that it was uploaded, and yeah, everything worked. Right here, I'm going to explain what is going on. It's completely the same. So there's no difference. The only difference is that right here, workflow is now set to our URL from that we stored. So it's going to be set as this right here. So workflow, image URL, we are setting this. So if the payload action was file uploaded, we are going to set the payload, the workflow action variable to file uploaded, and then we're going to set our variable right here to event.payload image URL, which is what we are sending. Right, I believe it's in here. Yeah, data.file URL. So wait, what? Oh yeah, I was too fast there. Image URL is this data file URL. So we are setting our image URL to data.file URL, which is just the link to the image. I got confused there for a second. And yeah, everything else here is the same. So if the payload action is file upload cancelled. So if the user hit, I can just start it up again. If the user hit this button right here, it will close down. And if something goes wrong and none of these are the payload, something went wrong. And you have to look through your bot to make sure that the payload action is file uploaded. And yeah, everything here is the same. So if you want to know what is happening here, you can go back and watch from this part of the video or this part of the video. They're 100% the same API call. And yeah, the only thing that's really different is this. We're using this variable here. I think that was everything. If you have any questions, if I skipped through something, let me know and I'll be happy to help you with it. Yeah.